This week, we will watch a love story unfold. But this is no ordinary love story, and there is certainly nothing romantic or sentimental about this story of love. In many ways, the Passion of Jesus is the story of a God who loved too much, the story of a God who was put to death for loving. Jesus came into our world with a message from God. It was a message inviting us to a better way of life, a more human way to be. It was an invitation to leave sin and sadness behind for all that is good and lovely and beautiful. In Jesus, God became one of us to invite us to a richer, more hopeful, and infinitely more blessed way of life. A way of life not marked by strife and dissension and animosity. A way of life not marked by thoughtlessness and unkindness and all the sadness selfishness brings. But a way of life characterized by love and joy, justice and peace, mercy and compassion. In Jesus, God entered into the chaos and brokenness and messiness of life. God entered into the sorrows and tears, the fear and anxiety. In Jesus, God entered into the darkness and suffering in order to show us the way from death back to life. But instead of taking the message to heart, we put the messenger to death. The events of Holy Week show us what kind of world we have. It is a crucifying world that when it meets love, kills it. A world that is offered a way to wholeness and fullness of life, but that strangely enough rejects its own salvation. In Jesus, God comes offering us the absolute perfection of life and love. And we respond by nailing Jesus to a cross. But the events of Holy Week also show us what kind of God we have. A God who puts no limits on his love, even to the point of death. A God who gives up everything that we might live. As we walk with Jesus through the events of Holy Week, one thing becomes undeniably true. Loving us cost Jesus dearly, but Jesus never counted the cost. Jesus never let the cost of loving us keep him from loving. Today, Palm Sunday, we listen again to the Passion story of Jesus. What do we see? At the Passover meal with his disciples, knowing that those at table with him would betray, deny, and abandon him, Jesus still loves. Later that evening, when the disciples sleep, when Jesus is in agony, Jesus still loves. When Judas betrays him for a handful of silver, and Peter vehemently denies even knowing him, Jesus still loves. When he is mocked, ridiculed, spit in the face, and tortured, Jesus still loves. When the mob, hungry for blood, screaming for his death, lets Pilate know that nothing short of crucifixion will appease them, Jesus still loves. Hanging on a cross, dying in agony, his whole life declared a failure, Jesus still loves. Sometimes we wonder, if love came to life, how would it appear? What would it look like? The events of Holy Week give us an answer. This week, we will once more hear the story of a God who loved too much. It is a story we do not deserve, but a story we should never tire of hearing and always take to heart. That is why every member of the Passionist family joyfully promises to keep the memory of this love story alive in their hearts.